mic is okay. She off your mic.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don't off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go summer us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun Politico, yeah, yeah. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. This one not the off in mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. Can in the torchlight every corner. Oh, yeah, yeah. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar, just they get the higher power. Over naira. See them talk say, make we off mind. But thank God say, Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. My people make we shout. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun diary Politico. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. This one not they off in mind. Oh, yo, yo. Maiyegun don't come. Oh, yo, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say, make we no talk. But thank God say, Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make you shout. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don't come. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun diary Politico. Oh yo yo, Maiyegun don't come. Oh yo yo. This man not the off in mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. Maiyegun don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. Aha. Now you not done here. All these bad politicians, then we call themselves politicians. When they thief our money, we no. Maiyegun
Good evening to you, good morning to you, good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live. And thank you so much for joining me. Share the broadcast. Let them know that Maiyegun is live.
Glory Facebook, glory YouTube. Maiyegun diary.
And actually,
to take you up on that.
Let me give you a perspective.
Yes.
The state government or the governors can actually give lands for ranches, but is the federal government also concerned about the kind of consultations that may have gone on between the state government and the people living in those communities who have ancestral attachment to those plot of lands?
Ancestral attachment? You can only have attachment when you are alive. If you are talking of ancestral attachment, if you are dead, what does the attachment matter? What does it matter again? Ancestral attachment, you can only have attachment when you are alive. If you are talking of ancestral attachment, if you are dead, what does the attachment matter? What does it matter again? The National Economic Council that recommended ranching went around those states. It didn't just legislate it, there were consultations. So, if a state does not have land genuinely, it's understood. Not every state will have ranches. You don't have to have ranches in 36 states. So, if there's no land genuinely, fine. But where you have land and you can do something, please do for peace. What will the land be used for if those who own it are dead at the end of the day? What will the land be used for if those who own it are dead at the end of the day? What will the land be used for if those who own it are dead at the end of the day?
Now,
so,
talk again, going back to ranching and cattle colonies, we know that still going back to international conversations, the United Kingdom and even the World Bank have come out to say that Nigerian government has not yet asked for support from the Commonwealth nations, and that if they did, there are a litany of investments and ideas and people who could actually help in this area of solving the issue of ranching or cattle colonies, and they would do it willingly to see that the violence abates. But then how do we bring together the warring factions, whether be it those people who claim they have the land rights and those people who feel that they are marginalized even though they are indigents and have resided there for decades, which is one of the key points Miyetti Allah made here the other day. And the issues of castle rustling as well is part of the issue of the violence. It's not just the killing of the herders of the farmers. How do communities begin to look at dispensing ethnocentric sentiments towards the issue of land and border rights, Mr. Femi, especially through the state government?
That is why you have community leaders. That is why you have traditional rulers. That is why you have local government chairmen. That is why you have states. These things must come up from there. But rather what we see is they are saying, federal government, come and do it. Federal government is so far from...
When you ask a battery of questions, how do you expect me to convince you? Let me step one by one. IPOB is attacking the police, is attacking the army, is attacking INEC, government institutions, killing our men in service. And the herdsmen are kidnapping children, not to kill them, to get money. So how can you compare somebody who's killing our gallant men in the armed forces directly, attacking them, to somebody who's kidnapping children to make money, not to kill them?
Again, good evening to you, good morning to you, good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun live. You have been reading about the weekend of horror, where the misguided brothers of Buhari, that their media named bandits, the Boko Haram terrorists, who have the capacity, the firepower to shoot at the government fighter jets, to the point that they have shot down many of Nigerian fighter jets. They have captured many Nigerian pilots. They have killed many of them. But one of them was lucky today. A Yoruba pilot flying over Zamfara and Kaduna, where the terrorists have unleashed endless week and weekend of horror. Buhari is begging them, you guys should, please. Even though from the same northern Nigeria where this bloodbath, killings, massacre, you know what I mean? Community, genocide going on every day. You ask yourself, how come that those who were supposed to be the political leaders who are interested in who gets power or where the next president comes from in 2023, how come they are not really concerned about what the terrorists are doing to them in that part of the country, but they are more interested in telling you how dangerous it is for you to support your brother who are asking everybody to defend themselves against those who are killing them, because we don't want to be like Zamfara. We don't want to end up being like Kaduna. We don't want to end up being like Niger. We don't want our children to end up in the hands of terrorists. We don't want to be paying hundreds of millions of naira just to release our children from the hands of terrorists who are kidnapping them, selling them off as slaves, as sex slaves. The trauma that those who even survived, who got rescued, the trauma that many of them will have to live with the rest of their lives. they have to live with for the rest of their lives. Then you ask yourself, right, what is the end goal? The end goal is very simple. We will all end up being like northern Nigeria. I found out recently, again, it's pretty much like reconfirming what we knew. They have a way of ensuring that people who are victims of bad governance blame themselves through religion, where they will tell you that they are actually telling them in northern Nigeria, many of those clerics, those mosques and other, they are telling their people that the reason why they are suffering, the reason why all these killings are happening, all these kidnappings and all of that, is simply because of their sins. That it is written in the Quran, it is written in the Hadith, that it's because of their sins. That is why everything is happening to them. They don't believe that it's because of the incompetence and collaboration and of the Boko Haram's government with the terrorists. An arrangement that is shielding terrorists, arrangement that is rehabilitating terrorists, an arrangement that is funding terrorism, an arrangement that makes every activist from the South considered a terrorist, while all the terrorists killing, kidnapping people in northern Nigeria are considered as comrades. They were telling the people who are the victims that it is because of their sins. Just over the weekend, the news came that in Zamfara, 19 people were murdered by the Fulani terrorist called Bandits. There's even a story of a guy whose father is arrested as supporter of banditry or what have you, kidnapping and criminality. When he received the news that they have kidnapped his father, you know what he did? He just attacked about 7 communities, right? He killed over 40 people. And he kidnapped over 150 people. He didn't just attack them, he told them that he was coming. Now, he's told other 50 communities in the same state now, Zamfara, that they should vacate the land. People are already moving. There is no military going there. But something happened today, which some people said is a miracle. Well, it might be a miracle, but it's pretty much like an escape, an escape that is just temporal. Those who are sponsoring terrorism are in power. Those who are funding terrorists are those in power. They are making laws every day to gag the rest of the country to abide by that arrangement, your land or your life. But yet, right, those who are really killing the Nigerian military, killing the Nigerian Air Force, killing all these security forces, right, are being defended as those who are just kidnapping children for money. That is the impression in northern Nigeria. But somebody escaped death today, just for the record. Sorry, I didn't get the full video I actually wanted to share, but it was the video of, a guy, fighter pilot who escaped when the bandits, as they call them, started shooting at the plane. The fighter jet is flying. Somehow they managed to shoot it down, and he escaped by, before the plane crashed. So he ejected himself. And he called his base that he's escaped. So that's why he wasn't caught. and they got him and they celebrated it, you know, like, hey, thank God, though. But do you know that it was last year that Tolulope Arotile, that lady they said died inside Kaduna Air Force Base, when they said they called her back because somebody summoned her and she was there. Then a friend who was driving, who never knew how to drive. So that friend saw her standing by the road and the friend decided to reverse to go and greet her. And then he reversed and he hit her and she died there on the spot. And they said she's so young, she's one of the best fighter pilots that they have. She's the youngest, I believe. So it was yesterday or 2 days ago that it was 1 year that they killed her. To this day, the friends who drove the car, the court or anything they are doing about it, nobody hear anything about it anymore. Or they will tell you the case is still in court. But last year, that happened. So another Yoruba pilot, a young one, could have been killed today in the hand of the armed terrorists in northern Nigeria. The same terrorists that Buhari released 1,009 of them just last week. So the bandits are speaking in the language that the northern Nigeria understand. Now, listen to this. We know those who understand that normally the security problem should be everybody's problem. Security business should be everybody's business, normally. Because as it is now, there is nowhere that is safe in Nigeria. Okay? So one of the ways to make things work would be if those who are seeing their children being kidnapped every day, not that they are not coming out, but do you know those who are also trying to destroy them from coming out? They are those who are elected or are appointed to represent them, right? But just imagine if the North that is being depleted every day by these terrorists, right? If the North come together to say, oh, this is not because of our sin. This is due to those who are collaborating with the terrorists. Policy is what makes life what it is, especially under any government. Policy. Buhari's government put a policy in place that doesn't punish terrorists. So when you, as a government, who is meant to protect everybody from the arm's way, right? If you have a policy that is rewarding terrorists, how then do you want a result of law and order? I mean, how do you want a law and order to be in place? Buhari's government came in. Before he came in, right, these terrorists in northern Nigeria, especially in northeast, they were all being pummeled, brushed up, sent out of the northeast before they handed over power to Buhari. And when this APC, Egbekegbe, came in secretly, they put a program in place, a program called Operation Safe Corridor. That is a policy that has no legal backing, right? But probably have the blessing of the Northern Caliphate, because it is a policy that rewards terrorists. They call it rehabilitation program for the repentant terrorists. And they have been so religious with it that they have released over 7,000 repentant terrorists, according to them. But you would think in International or Geneva Convention or International Convention on Prisoners of War. So that means until the war ends, you don't process and release those who were caught in active fighting, who have murdered more than 5,000 Nigerian military officials. No joke. Now, the war is still raging. They have, subsidized in a way that, they now have more terrorist groups who have grown so big that they have their own government in Borno, they have their governor, they have their court and all of that under this Buhari. So there was no plan to crush the terrorists. The plan is to spread the terrorism all over the place and provide a safety net for any terrorist caught, especially if you are caught alive, right? Now, this is the expensive double standard war that the government of Nigeria using the money of Nigeria to fight a proxy war that makes the North the worst victim of it. So if there's going to be a revolution that should start from anywhere, it should start from that North, honestly speaking. But we are not going to wait for them. Why are we then attached to a system that dragged us into this complete destruction? A whole country like Nigeria, with the billions and trillions of naira spent, these guys have spent over 10 trillion naira in 6 years. The money that could have gone into education, infrastructure, including electricity and the spread of, internet in that country. But all this money, burnt down. Many of them spent in funding terrorism. Many of them ended up in the deep pockets of all these military and political partners of them who are in the insecurity industry that is now multi-billion dollars industry. Nigeria, a big country like Nigeria, cannot map out where these terrorists live. They cannot map that out for 10 years simply because the government is the one behind it. The politicians who are also drafting bills, drafting laws, drafting their budget, supplementary budget, by, purchasing weapons all over the place. These are the same generals who give these weapons to these terrorists. And we have facts to back all of this up. Or how do you explain it to me? That Giwa Barrack, the famous Giwa Barracks in Kaduna, got invaded. Not once, not twice, 3 times in 6 years. And each time they go there, imagine terrorists going into the military barracks. Is that not you going into your, should that not be a suicide mission? But they have done it repeatedly in different parts of northern Nigeria to loot the weapon, bought with Nigeria money, the same money that they are draining from the southern Nigeria. So how do we get so drenched in this misery that we become so weak, so attached, that we can't see the danger of destruction of what this is all about, the ruins of the future of our own children, the children that many of you are probably working for today, the future you think you are building for them, the future that they will never feature in. How? Nigeria is structured in a way that every penny you make, every money they get from every part of that country, called the federal government taxes, including the natural resources money they get from there, every penny goes to them, and then they share this money among themselves, including the states, who cannot tell us how many local government areas they have, how many people living in those areas, how many communities are currently under the attack, and map out all these areas. And yes, I mean, despite the billions of naira they are getting every now and then, but it is convenient for them to continue to collect security votes, even if they add no penny to that same national purse that gives them the billions every month. And they can gallivant and group about and threaten everybody from the rest of the country from making a decision that actually suits the well-being of our own people. That's something that you as a Southerner should begin to question. They told you that the reason why many people criticize Buhari is because they don't like him. If I ask you, what is there to like about them, about Buhari, about the government's, their government's policies, and where Nigeria is today? They have blamed everybody for why Nigeria is where it is today. They have blamed the weather, they have blamed you, the people, they have blamed PDP, they have blamed the, religion, they have blamed tribal, they have blamed almost everything. They've even blamed God. That's how terrible and irresponsible they have been. And everywhere they go, just like when Buhari was in Kano a few days ago. Let me see, do I still have that? They still come out because they believe their clerics that says the reason why they are poor, the reason why they are under attacks, the reason why their children are being kidnapped, the reason why the whole place is what it is now is because of their sins. And Buhari cannot be blamed. Right. So I am a Southerner. I am from the Yoruba land. If you ask me, what are my priorities in life? I will start with what are not my priority. What shouldn't be my priority initially should have been, who is the president? But my primary priority as a young man is to live a life that I can fend for myself, work legitimately, legitimately when I want to work, earn a living, raise a family, foot my bill, and be responsible, whereby including paying my tax, while I also watch those who are in charge of every penny called tax that comes from me and people like me use that same money to provide social amenities that are meant to be financed by those taxes I pay as long as I have a job. Now, from that money, I expect my children to have access to good education. I expect my family to have access to good healthcare system, affordable healthcare system. I expect a responsible government to provide good infrastructural development, enough to make me feel like human. Again, as a responsible citizen, paying his tax. My priority is also pretty much to see that those who are responsible for my, who actually said they are in charge of my government, should be able to guarantee me, which is number one priority, by the way. They should see that as, they should be able to guarantee my safety, the safety of my life, the safety of the lives of my family, the safety of the lives of my community, the safety of my properties. My right to own things should never be questioned or conditioned by any means. Now, when you now have people who are in government, I, as a citizen, I am responsible paying my tax, working, put yourself in my shoes now as I'm using myself. As a citizen, working, paying my tax, and those who sought the job that they wanted to represent and be responsible for keeping law and order, including keeping me safe, through the responsibility I am also obliged to, which is paying my tax and staying out of trouble. Now, their responsibility of, or being responsible for what they are elected or appointed to do, right? We only, them doing that, we only keep them, or we keep making them be legitimate enough to hold on to that offices. Now, if I, as a citizen, if I am doing everything I have to do legitimately, for those of you who are legit now, because many of you are legit, okay? Living in an illegitimate system, a rigged system. Now you are paying your taxes. There are no roads. There are no good hospitals. There are no good education. The education system is in shambles. Now they have now coupled it up with a ruined economy, top it up with insecurity, terrorism, that they have shown repeatedly that they have no capacity of ending or bringing to an end. Yes. They have shown that they are not responsible enough to keep me safe. They are not responsible enough to keep my family safe. They are not responsible enough to make me feel like I hold them any kind of legitimacy. That's where they lost it. Now, as a Southerner, I am worried when I am told that I cannot ask these questions about why can't I protect myself, and why can't I ask you who claim to be representing me to vacate that position and let those who can do the job come in and do the job. All these rights have been taken away from every Nigerian under this regime. You can't even come out to protest about all of this. When young people came out to say the government should protect the people, the government should stop the police brutality, they were met with more and vital brutality. where over 300 of them were massacred in a space of 14 days, and no single person has been held responsible for that. Now, as a Southerner, you can make me accept all things, or you can force me to accept many things, but you can't make me accept a death wish. A death wish is when somebody says that defending myself or asking us to raise, a group of people who are ready to defend our land against invading terrorists, who are experts in kidnapping, mass kidnapping, destruction of communities, and sending people to refugee camps, displacing people from their ancestral land and occupying same. The people who are experts in that, who are protected by government, who can never be touched. If you touch them, your community will be ransacked by the Nigerian military. Now, how do you think that is convenient and fair as a Southerner? Because that's where we are now. The bandits are speaking in the language the North understand. The North understands, as we can see now, that the bandits, they are just activists. They are just comrades. They are not terrorists. And the language these guys speak is the language of kidnapping, the language of mass killings, the language of what you have seen in the last 7 days, just like what you have seen in the last 6 years. Are you following me? If they are speaking that language, and somebody like Femi Oponu-Adesina look me straight into my eyes, and Femi Oponu-Adesina said, "What use is that my land if I am dead? Should I be killed in the first place simply because I won't give up my land?" That should be a question that an average on every Southerner should be asking, especially if you are a Yoruba man. They have done so much damages. I'm talking about so much damages, to the point that when you read the news, that 50 people get killed. Even when you see the pictures, when people see all these images, they just shrug it off and they just move on. Because tomorrow morning, you're going to receive another one. Those they killed overnight. As we speak today, from November 2020 to June 2021, these terrorists have kidnapped over 1,048 school children, including college and university students. And throughout this period, over 10 of these children died in their hands when they were transporting them. And as we speak right now, despite hundreds of millions of naira paid to them, there are still over 250 of these children in different camps of their captors as we speak. The only people who are killing the Nigerian military, the only place where it is certain 100% guaranteed that you are likely going to be killed as a military man is northern Nigeria. They know this. As big as the northern Nigeria is, as they appear in the map, as big as expanse as their lands are in that place, 1/3 or 2/3, or rather 2/3 of that land is ungoverned by Nigeria. They are being governed by terrorists. As you are watching this video, the governors know, the senators know, the reps know, all these guys from these places, they know. And they are benefiting from it. As they are being killed, many of them are making money from it. Also, when I say making money from it, it's not because they go straight to the military to collect money. As it is, with the insecurity gives some of these people the power to write any election result at any time, as long as they want. And they can make anybody president as long as they want. Because you will never have any chance of sending people there to conduct any census in northern Nigeria. Would you ever conduct any census where you can get kidnapped? Now, they made these terrorists look like they don't know where they are. oh, Alagamo forest is so big. It's big enough like 2 countries. All rubbish. Sambisa forest is so massive. Do you think Sambisa forest is just a small forest? Sambisa forest is so massive that it will take 50 years for Nigerian military to cover it. Nonsense. This is 2021. This is not when you use bow and arrow to fight. These guys are holding weapons bought by Nigerian government. AK-47, all the weapons you see with these guys, including the military trucks, armor tanks, everything. They seized them from Nigerian military. Different barracks in northern Nigeria. Who else have done that in any part of Nigeria? Have you seen anybody took any armor tank from the military in the south? Have you seen anybody who goes into a military barrack in the southern Nigeria and overrun the barracks and take over their guns? But they set up the southern Nigeria by bringing in their own terrorists in uniform. They operate in the middle of the night. They call them unknown gunmen. They started killing their own members too. Imagine unleashing repentant terrorists that you gave a uniform to, and you brought them down to the south in order to accuse those who are saying we will not be trapped again with this Nigeria. Don't let anybody lie to you. This is how it's going to be forever. And let me tell you this, if you don't have a clue, even if you manage to do the stunt and they manage to give you the presidency in southern Nigeria in 2023 or 2027, they no bond you well to come in and challenge what is going on with what they have done. Because what should have happened in the first place is that the heirs should have ruled. Heirs should have ruled, but because they are in charge. So you will never see it anywhere. But the language the terrorists, or the language that the northern Nigeria understand so far, can be called the language of terrorism. And the bandits, the terrorists are speaking in that language. But if you want to know if the northern, and you can listen now, everywhere is dead, except for the families of the victims. You know, the families of those whose children have been kidnapped, the relatives of those whose children, families have been killed. You know, all these people are those who are making the protests, small protests here and there in different mosques. They are telling the people that it is because of their sin. That is why this calamity is happening to them. Should we then say it is because of our own sin? That is why they are also killing us in southern Nigeria. Of course not. I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not going to let you buy into that as well. For those they are still lying to about 2023, right? Let's hope you make it that far in what is coming. So why should we then wait until they start speaking to us in the language we understand? It was the Buhari that first said he would speak to us in the language we understand. Do you know those he was referring to? He was referring to the IPOB members. He's referring to the Oduduwa Nation members. He said he would speak to us in the language we understand. But in northern Nigeria, where his own people, including in Kaduna State, have been slaughtered, massacred, abandoned. Many of them crossed border. They don't even know where or what is going to happen next. Buhari is speaking to us. And do you know what Buhari wants to use? He will use his terrorists in the southern Nigeria, or the terrorist cell in southern Nigeria, to unleash the violence. And when you try to fight back, like our own Sunday Igboho and many of these our gallant Yoruba brothers and sisters who have stood up against the threats of this Fulani oligarch and the Fulani terrorists in power and out of power, intimidating and threatening us that we dare not ask to defend ourselves. So he's speaking to us in the language of violence, using their own repentant terrorists, puts on the military uniform, given the Nigerian military weapons, and they are also given the logistics of movement, and you can't fight them. Once they caught up with you, you will be lucky if they just arrest you and not murder you. That is a language that Buhari said he's going to be speaking to us with in the southern Nigeria. What is the language of the south to this madness? That is the question that should be begging for an answer. Because no matter how much we pretend, right, not to be affected by what is going on, right?
You and I know that as it is now, everybody is living in that fear, the fear of the unknown. Why don't you then let the South speak in the language they will understand? They want to kill Sunday Igboho. They have kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now today, we received the report on that, right? Before I even get to that report, Oloye Sunday Igboho has done nothing. He has not harmed anybody. He has not kidnapped anyone. He never fought with any military or anybody. He's always been pretty much about the peaceful protests and rallies to raise awareness among the Yoruba states why the Yorubas should begin the journey of self-determination. This is a simple message that is of, which is allowed in that constitution of theirs, but rather than them to listen to us, they unleashed violence on us, they killed our people, they dehumanized our people, and also, same thing, the Biafrans, they said, we want a referendum, we don't want war, we want to decide who still want to be part of Nigeria and who don't want to be part of Nigeria, peacefully, no fight. Buhari started speaking in the language he said they will understand, the language of violence. He unleashed the military on them, the DSS on them. They killed over 2,000 of them, at least the ones we know before the unleash of horror and terror on the people of Olu and the people of Osu, the people of Imo State, that lasted for more than 2 months and got over 1,000 young people killed. And why? Because they are asking to be given a chance to decide if they still want to be part of the union or not. How? Because that's the language of terrorists, the language that Buhari, as the head of those terrorists, who have now found their way further south in the past 6 years. So Buhari, who is the official terrorist, the other ones who are unofficial terrorists, so they are pretty much unleashing and speaking the same language of violence, the same one that they are speaking to the people of the North. And they have managed to make the people of the North to agree with them, at least a lot of them, that it is not Buhari's fault that they are being killed. So same thing, they are using the same language in the South now, killing our people, kidnapping our people, and they are assaulting, dehumanizing our people, displacing them from their communities, warning them never to try or attempt to stop any Fulani from coming to their communities or their farms to graze, whatever the whole provocation might be. They dare not challenge them. And this is the language of terrorism that they are speaking to us. Can you and I now say the South should just accept this language? Of course not, we won't. And that is why when the news came today that the barrister Aloy Eji Mako, I don't know if I pronounced that right, by the way, but help me. So barrister Aloy, the IPOB leader's solicitor, barrister Aloy, went today to meet with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. To some of you who are watching me right now, the update on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is becoming more troublesome for them in Nigeria. They have managed to enter a trap that will see Nigeria and some officials of Nigeria be declared wanted. Some of them will end up in jail if they were ever caught in any part of Europe, because declaring them wanted will come from the court here in the UK because of the crime they committed. Some of you you might have applauded them. You might have praised them because that's what you wanted. You wanted to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and many, many other Biafrans slaughtered, because maybe if they are killed, that would then bring peace to your northern Nigeria. But that hasn't brought any peace. It hasn't brought peace to anywhere. In my own backyard, on my own land, in Igongon, in Barapa, they killed 4 people just a few days ago, including the Amotekun commander. Are you with me? So, which means that despite the fact that they kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, put him in their own detention, and then possibly thinking of what they are going to do with him, because they can't kill him. Are you with me now? Now, that has become a problem. They've committed a crime called extraordinary rendition. That is a crime that will make Nigeria become sanctioned. That is a crime that will make the president of Nigeria and every person fingered in that action of rendition. That is a crime that will make them go to jail between 10 and 50 years in jail. You are laughing. They are not laughing. They know what they have done. But let them enjoy it now that they think they have the immunity. All right? Now, that has now led or prompted the United Kingdom to have to stand up. Because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a Biafran British, which means he is British. Whether you want to say he wasn't born a British, that is your story. But however, if he committed any crime anywhere, he is expected to be respected and given the legal rights to defend himself. And if you have to extradite him from anywhere for any crime, right? You would also have to follow that judicial process in any crime you want to take him from. Nigeria has violated those laws. They did the same thing in the UK in the 80s when Buhari tried and attempted to kidnap Umaru Diko, somebody they called a criminal, a thief, you know, who stole money, but they couldn't use the legal means to get him back to Nigeria. That road is the road Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case has dragged Nigeria now. You haven't heard the last of it. Now, what happened? Extraordinary rendition means UK government will have to provide consular legal support to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Also, another law firm in the UK have also taken up the case to, one, drag Nigeria, including the Attorney General of Nigeria and Kenyan government, right, before the British court, just to obtain an order that will eventually prompt the UK government to issue arrest warrants on all these guys and bring them to court in the UK. One, they would have to avoid where they go to, especially when they are no longer holding those positions that they are holding now, using to commit that crime. So with what they have done, they have realized it. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer met with him last week, he came back and he gave us the account of what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu told him. That interview garnered over 2 million views on YouTube within just 48 hours. It was a very big interview that exposed that gave an answer, many answers to many questions that people have been asking. How did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu go to Kenya? This and that. Now, that interview, that expose, also further prompted the UK government to further make the legal representation and ask for the protection of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nothing must happen to him. If anything happens now, a lot of people will go down for it. Yes, you may not really be comfortable with the UK. Of course, you may not be. You don't have to be comfortable with them. But there are some certain things, right, that they can pretend to ignore. There are many things that they are not legally allowed to ignore. Are you with me? But before they can make any further pronouncement and all of that, they needed the consent of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That was where the DSS realized that, oh boy, we have done a mistake for letting his lawyer see him. Gladys Adebola, thank you very much for that. Ziego Tech, thank you also for your super chat. I have another one. Chuk, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Thank you as well, okay? So when his lawyer went to him today to go and give him the application from the British government, the consular support, which he is expected to have to anyway, right? The DSS denied him access. They won't let him see Kanu. And that is also part of what we expect. Okay? There will be a lot of pressure. There will be a lot of pressure from all over the world. And we are not in any way, not aware of the fact that they still have this international immunity stuff that they use and cover them, but they will be running out of all those options very soon. Now that they have done this, the next step is just to continue to mount the pressure, to continue the blazing, especially for people who have made London a bit of a show, like what I was sent today. Where is that? Give me a sec. I think you should watch this.
Lives matter. Black 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 lives matter.
We're taking the knee today as a clear message to our players. We're taking the knee today for everybody that has to stand to face racism. We're taking the knee today for every black person who has lost his life in a police cell. We're taking the knee today for unity in Leicester and everywhere else. The Black Lives Matter, and thank you very much.
Free Nnamdi Kanu now! 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 Free Nnamdi Kanu now!
I'm here today mainly to show our solidarity with our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is a British citizen, who was kidnapped in Kenya by the Nigerian authorities and sent to Nigeria, where the country is fleeing persecution. We have a strong message to say. We are in solidarity with Black Lives Matter because we are black. And our black is very beautiful. We are asking for justice. We are asking for fairness. We are asking for independence for Biafra. Biafrans have been through a lot. Just as we say, the place has been laid on the neck of a black man. So Nigeria and colonialism have a knee on Biafrans. We want to be set free. We are in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. We want Black Lives Matter to be in solidarity with us as well. Because we are all fighting the same cause, because for justice, because for equity and equality in our society. So, we shout Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
We shout Biafran Lives Matter.
Biafran Lives Matter.
Thank you so much for everyone who went out there to make that representation. Some of you will be watching me right now, possibly, and it's indeed what everybody should be doing. Same thing happened in Japan. Just a few days ago. That we hold them while everybody is pushing other local approaches, locally and internationally. We are going to get these people. They will end up in jail if they are not dead, though. Let them enjoy the rot and the madness they are currently pushing. They will make more mistake. I love this too.
They should stop killing people. They should stop hurting our people. We are tired of burying our loved ones. We are here today peacefully. Next time will not be peaceful. Trust us on this. IPOB! IPOB! Mazi Nnamdi Kanu must be free. 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 He must be free. Whether the devil like it or not, whether the government like it or not, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu must be free. You must be free. Come 26 in Abuja, over 2.something million people will face you people in Abuja. Then you understand what life is. We are coming there. We are coming to Abuja with 2.something million people. Life and their right. So we are here to warn you people. Desist from evil. Those you kill, their blood is crying unto God. When Nigerian government demanded their freedom from British, nobody was killed. Nobody was shot. We demand to live in peace. We want our freedom. And we want it now. We want it now. We want it now. We want it now. Holy, holy.
because the killing of children, all kinds of crime in Nigeria. So we want to withdraw from Nigeria as of today. And we came here to say really.
It is.
Oh, you do IPOB. Oh, Mary, Wonizu, Woniya, Abakare, Mama Bawora, Ulapuri, Mary Nnamdi, win the war. Python, that's one, Python, that's two. Now Python, that's a three. Ulapuri, Mary Nnamdi, win the war. Python, that's one, Python, that's two. Now Python, that's a three. Ulapuri, Mary Nnamdi. Nnamdi bụ onye du IPOB, o meriwo n'izu mbiro ya. Abakare, Mama Ndawora, unu abụghị meri Nnamdi. Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unu abụghị meri Nnamdi. Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unu abụghị meri Nnamdi. Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unu abụghị meri Nnamdi. Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unu abụghị meri Nnamdi. Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two. Now Python that's the three. Unu abụghị meri Nnamdi.
It is a long war. They are not just in a circle. A country of over 60 million people are not dot in a circle. Education would have been better. But what would they do? A man that is fighting for this Fulani land grab and all of that, being in the presidency, who cannot even define what is the national livestock. So if you are somebody who feel like people are misunderstanding you, the southern Nigeria controls, the southern Nigeria, currently occupies 29.8% of the landmass of Nigeria, 70.1%. Over 70% of the landmass in Nigeria is domiciled in northern Nigeria. But yet, the man that is pushing for Ruga, let's ask him, Buhari, what is the meaning of livestock?
Livestock.
Huh?
Livestock.
National livestock.
I will talk about it. He doesn't know. He doesn't. I think
these are all directed at Mr. President. So corruption, yes, let me know. He can talk for himself.
He doesn't know. He doesn't.
I want Nigerians to give you another opportunity to do another 4 years. Why?
Well, he doesn't know. I think
70 years old man. But
70 years old man, like Asari will say.
Charlie boy. But this ain't Charlie boy is our mumu done too much. Charlie boy, now your mumu not too much. You be mumu. You think say they wise. You are a mumu man. You are a mumu man. And then throw the tear gas for something way bad for issue. We just pray. They say our mumu done too much, our mumu done too much. You be mumu, they call other people mumu. They never show you say you be mumu. Nigeria is not for Desani. Nigeria is not for Charlie Boy. Nigeria is not for Good Luck Jonathan. Nigeria is not for...
How many times they will tell you, say, Nigeria is not for you? But I'm happy. I picked up a video earlier, which is the conversation about the killings in Nigeria being discussed in the British Parliament. I think I should share that with you because I have something else to share with you as well. 40 pastors sacked by Winners Chapel and it made headlines. It makes headlines everywhere. How can church sack people called by God? Not be God supposed to sack them, but they said it's because they are not. First, let's go to the UK Parliament.
My Lords, may I too congratulate the Noble Lord, Lord Alton, and Baroness Berridge for their contributions, and of course for Lord Alton for bringing this subject to us today. There has been a long history of disputes between nomadic herders and farming communities across the Sahel. In Nigeria, attacks are now occurring with such frequency, organisation and asymmetry, as the Noble Lord Alton mentions, that reference to farmer-herder classes are wholly inadequate. Armed with a relatively sophisticated weaponry, particularly AK-47s, the Fulani herder militia is thought to have murdered more men, more women and more children between 2015 and 2017 than Boko Haram. They have overrun and seized property and land and displaced tens of thousands of people. In 2017, herder militia claimed that 800 lives in 53 villages in southern Kaduna alone, burning down over 1,400 houses. As Baroness Berridge pointed out, during most of these well-planned attacks, herders' cattle were nowhere in sight. Over 180,000 people in Benue State are currently living in IDP camps because the herder militia violence has displaced them. Over 500,000 displaced people are living in temporary accommodation, and over 80,000 school-aged children are living in IDP camps with no access to education. Attacks continue unabated, with seemingly little government action. This has entrenched impunity. Apart from verbal condemnations, there has been no action to end the violence. No attacker has been brought to justice. With perpetrators emboldened, attacks by herder militia have now spread to southern Nigeria. No longer able to rely on the government for protection or justice, communities are seeing a growth in vigilantism and retaliatory justice. The growth in murders of villagers and community leaders in Benue has also led to calls for President Buhari to consider his position and for the reassessment of security arrangements as a matter of urgency. As the Noble Lord Alton mentioned on the 24th of March this year, the respected former Army Chief of Staff and Defence Minister, Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma, stated that the armed forces, and I quote, were not neutral, and I quote again, that they collude in the ethnic cleansing of riverine states by the Fulani militia. Earlier this week, I too had the opportunity to meet with the Honourable Kwamum Rirande Shahula, courtesy of the advocacy organisation CSW. The Honourable Shahulu is a member of the Nigerian Federal House of Representatives in Taraba State. Among his wide-ranging writing and editorial activities, he is currently chair of the National Assembly Army Committee, which gives him unique insight into Nigeria's current security challenges. In our discussions, he was able to rebut the claim that the anti-grazing laws were the cause of the spread of violence. The only states with anti-grazing laws were in fact Taraba, Benue and Ikiti, yet attacks have been occurring over 10 states. For example, in Plateau State, where there are no anti-grazing laws, there have been many killings, including last weekend, as Lord Alton mentioned, when over 200 civilians were reported killed. Interestingly, while there is some evidence that some of the violence has a religious dimension, the Honourable Shawulu argued that the only affected area was Oduduwa State, which is predominantly Christian. Other local areas with similar land and other resources had suffered no attacks, be they Christian or Muslim. The overriding concern is that the growing instability and lawlessness in the region was providing fertile ground for kidnapping, banditry and terrorism with impunity. If this is not stressed, there is a real danger that the activities of Boko Haram, ISIS and similar terrorist groups could penetrate and destabilise the whole region. If not addressed, this could create a conflict and humanitarian crisis on a scale which would engage the international community and the UN Security Council and the UK. The prospect of terrorist cells spreading through Nigeria, Africa's most populous state, and to territories beyond to threaten Europe cannot lightly be dismissed. I would urge the government to act now, working alongside their Nigerian counterparts and fellow Commonwealth members, particularly while the UK holds the post-Chogam chair in office. I would suggest that DFID might examine the aid programme to Nigeria to ensure that provision is made for the communities that have been victims of the Fulani attacks. They should also ensure that minority communities in the north affected by Boko Haram attacks have access to humanitarian aid. There are also issues such as collective Commonwealth support in promoting the non-discriminatory and even application of the law to restore and strengthen faith in the law. Finally, my lords, the attacks that Nigerian people are suffering can surely be mitigated, if not eroded, with the support of agencies of the UN, the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, and the faith community and international NGOs. Can the Minister, in her response or in writing, set out how the UK might plan to play a primary role in such a venture?
My Lords, I join with others in thanking the Noble Lord Alton for securing a debate.
That's the Noble Lord in the House of Lords, rather. The UK House of Lords. I hope we heard every word. Yes, we are glad that they are also repeating what we have been telling the whole world for the past 6 years. That's a good start. So if you are going to go to the parliament to make a protest or, tell them about what is going on, it is good to know that they know already. And when the pressure continues to mount, right, something is going to give eventually. However, I'm going to quickly take you to what Oyinlola had to say. This is in Yoruba. I will interpret. When they sold Buhari to the Yoruba people, right? Today, now regrets upon regrets, every person that associated with Buhari and APC, Egbekegbe, especially in Yoruba land, with what the Yorubas are now facing.
Nígbà tí a tiẹ̀ wá sọ fún wọn ní níwọ̀ oòrùn Nàìjíríà ń tà fún wọn ni pé àtúntò yóò bá ètò ìjọba ní Nàìjíríà èyí tí gbogbo ayé ń pè ní restructuring. Ó wá yà mí lẹ́nu pé ààrẹ ńgbà tí ń ṣe tẹ́ ń bá ṣe wá ìfọ̀rọ̀wánilẹ́nuwò ó lóun mọ̀ tó mọ̀ tí ń jẹ́ restructuring. Ó bà mí lọ́kàn jẹ́ torí ó yé mi débi pé ń tààtà níwọ̀ oòrùn Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n fi gbà wá nù tí wọ́n sì fi gbà pé ókè kí ààrẹ Buhari kó máa tẹ̀síwájú. Kọ́ ló dáríjì yàn ni kó Olúwa kó ṣàánú fún wa nítorí ń tààrò kọ́ lélẹ́yìí. Mo fẹ́ sọ yí pé bàbá Ọbásanjọ́ ó sọ fún Àpàtó wípé òun mọ Buhari pé ó rò pé ó lè gbé ẹrù yìí. Ókè nínú gbogbo àwọn tó wà nílẹ̀ nísìn a lérò pé ńgbà tó ti ṣe olórí rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ológun ẹ̀ẹ́mọ́ rẹ ti mọ ojú òpó nù kò yẹ kó ṣe eré sà ń tààrò nìyà. Ìkan náà ni wá ní Nàìjíríà kí ajá kó mọ fún ọmọ tiẹ̀ lọ́mú kó mọ mú tí ọmọ ọ̀yà kó mọ kì mọ́lẹ̀ kò lè rọ́gbọ̀n n tó bí pé tọ̀ tí iwájú ò bá ṣe lọ mọ́ ẹ̀yìn ó sì padà sí ká kúkú padà síbi tá a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ìyẹn ló fà táwọn kan sọ pé kólúkákù kúkú wọ́n ti pè ajá ò ní ṣe àkápò ẹkùn kólúkálùkù má sọdẹ tiẹ̀ lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀.
I will try to interpret that. That's the former governor of Osun State. That is the one that handed over to Aregbemungu, Baba Kabiru. That is now the Minister of Interior under Buhari. This one was the Secretary of PDP And because they removed him as secretary, and he was meant to be the eyes and ears of Obasanjo inside PDP. So when they did their national caucus, this and that, and they removed Oyinlola, so they became followers of Obasanjo like that. So in 2015, when they brought Buhari to Abeokuta to come and meet Obasanjo for endorsement, right? They also thought, well, it's an opportunity for them. So that was when they gave Oyinlola a slot in their midst, despite all the horrible things they said about themselves when they wanted to take over Osun State from him, right? So once that arrangement was put in place, it was told that it was going to be made a minister too, like they promised many of them. So through Obasanjo, so when they throw stick, when they throw stone at Obasanjo, when Obasanjo started writing letters, the likes of Oyinlola and co, they became casualties. You know what I mean? Like where two elephants fight, now the grass they suffer. So politically, that's how these ones became irrelevant again since then. So they were all promised that they should leave PDP, they should come and whatever they want to give them. And Obasanjo regretted it. But he's saying it in that interview that Obasanjo warned them later that it doesn't feel like this person, this Buhari is worth it. He can't deliver. He said what they promised the Yorubas, in fact, what made the Yorubas accept them, this APC, Egbekegbe, this Al-Qaeda People's Congress, why the Yorubas accepted them was because they promised the Yorubas restructuring. That was what they sold to the Yorubas. He said he is so disappointed. He was very sad when they were asking Buhari what his opinion were on the restructuring. And Buhari said he had no idea. What is restructuring? That he has no clue. It's the same thing they sold to the people. That we will restructure, blah, blah, like many other things. So, gradually, many of them will come to that reality. So that's what Oyinlola was saying there. I thought I should add that. Some of you have heard about those who voted or who didn't vote for electoral reform to allow the electronic transfer of election results during the 2023 election, the one that they have already rigged. I know they are telling you to go and register to vote. Some of you are registering because you know they will give you 1,000 naira. They will give you 5,000 naira. But apart from that, you are not intending to vote anything. You know it. But go and register, okay? Go there. Because they've rigged it already, haven't they? Well, they won't be transmitting results by electronics. INEC said they have the capacity. They said they have the capacity to transmit results electronically from everywhere. The Senate said, no. Right? In fact, this particular one is so loud. You know him.
I vote capital no to any amendment proposed by Senator Akpan Batsi on the electronic transmission of voting. Thank you.
Wait for it. You know him. His name is Yayi. He's a senator representing somewhere in Lagos. A senator, right? One of the Tinubu boys. He's also a guy who is going to be going for a Senate seat in Ogun State, Yewa, so that he can contest to become governor in 2027, as they always plot it, because now them, you know, it's just like that. Watch it again.
I vote capital no to any amendment proposed by Senator Akpan Batsi on the electronic transmission of voting. Thank you.
You see his face? There are more. Just for your own view. Watch this set of people.
Mr. President and my colleagues, I'm coming. I'm going to vote. Every member of this Senate believes in electronic voting and electronic transmission. Allow me. You cannot shut me down. For God's sake, you can't shut me down. Unless you want us to sleep here. You cannot shut me. You cannot shut me down. It's either you allow me to talk or we will stop here. I vote because there are no coverage in my village. There is no coverage in my village. Senator Baribe knows that there is no coverage where we come from. I don't want anybody to make a political point where we come from. There's no coverage, as such, I vote no.
Thank you. My name is Enyinaya Baribe. I represent Abia South, and I'm the minority leader of the Senate. And I vote yes to Nigeria, yes to electronic voting.
I just want to advise, please, when your name is called, when somebody's name is called, yes, or you say I vote no or I vote yes, please. I vote no or I vote yes. That's all. Please. No, please. Listen, please. Please, listen. Listen, please. Please. Okay, please, let's be guided. Let's be guided. This voting has started and it will go to the end. We don't want any disruption. And what we are voting for is not electronic transmission. So just listen, please. Just listen. Listen, please. So the voting continues.
Mr. President, guided by the official position of NCC to the extent, to the effect that coverage... Hey! I have the floor. I have the floor. I have the floor. I have the floor. Thank you. I have the floor. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Guided by the official position of NCC to the effect that coverage is only 43% in this country, I hereby, because I want uniformity in our laws, because I want uniformity in our laws, I hereby vote no to the Albert Amendment.
Mr. President, I stand on the side of the people, of Nigerians. I vote yes. And I stand by this.
Mr. President, in support of electronic transfer and electronic transmission of results and ensuring that INEC is not fettered in its exercise of discretion, I vote no to the proposal by Senator.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman and colleagues, I stand for the commission may transmit results of election by electronic means where practicable, not subjecting INEC to any other authority, because we don't want two arbiters. INEC should be always as practicable, not as any other thing. It should not be decided for anybody. And I say yes.
Mr. President, I rise on behalf of the highly educated people of Kogi West. I rise on behalf of the masses whom I personify in this chamber. I rise, Mr. President, to say I support the transfer of results through electronic process by INEC as amended by Sabi. I'm against, and I said no. I said no to the amendment from Albert.
I stand to say yes for electronic transmission of election results.
Mr. President, I vote no, just to allow INEC to do the best job for Nigeria. Thank you.
I have the floor. Sir, Kabiru Ibrahim Gaya, who brought the chairman, who brought the team, he himself voted no. Against the report he brought for us, So are the other things in the report tenable? Are they tenable? Mr. President, I vote yes.
Okay, thank you.
To electronic transmission of results.
I vote capital no to any amendment proposed by Senator Afam Batsi on the electronic transmission of voting. Thank you.
Mr. President.
So that's a few of your, senators. They were voting on transfer of electronic voting. Some of them said the electronic voting should be subjected to the NCC. Do you know who controls NCC? It's a pandemic. Yeah, that's the guy in charge of your NCC. He's in charge of all the data, everything, your phones and everything. So they want to subject your election to him so that, you know what the result will be, Abi? It's a pandemic. When they ask one of the morons who claimed to be a senator too, what his thoughts were on the electronic voting.
This electronic voting that they are talking about, I think is PDP's idea to rig the election. Because they are the ones that have the Yahoo boys, they are the ones that have the spooping or what do you call it? These are the people. Otherwise, I don't see any reason for this cry out on this matter. The truth of the matter is that we had 6 elections in this country, isn't it? We had 6 elections. And the one that was administered under the government of APC was adjudged to be very credible, where you saw opposition winning election under a sitting government. That was not the case during the PDP. I hope you got that. So if you are thinking is that APC is doing this in order to take advantage of it, we would have taken advantage of the previous elections that were conducted credibly. All were
electronic transfer of results would defeat all the manipulation that has to do. It doesn't mean that it can be rigged. It can still be rigged, right? Where it will limit and reduce the rigging, and it will be proved scientifically if those rigged numbers ever found their way into the overall number. But they don't want it because they don't even have the real figure of the people of the North. They don't, right? Unfortunately, the fact that there is no real figure reliable in northern Nigeria, down to every part of Nigeria anyway, there's no reliable data of the population of the people. That is also affecting the Lord's work. 40 pastors lost their jobs, or they lost their calling. I don't even know what to say. But hey, excuse me, whatever I say here, I am referring to the story I want to talk about. Don't take it personal. Don't begin to start foaming in your mouth. That Maiyegun, don't talk like that. Don't talk about what you don't know. It is you that should now just listen or ignore me. I am not in any way attempting to ridicule your religion or your faith, okay? Now, you get that one, no. But because of your faith and your religion, it doesn't mean that I have a barrier on what I can talk about. So before you begin to foam in the mouth, I just thought I should warn you, at least just be nice. Because I'm going to say things that may make you go mad right now. And don't, please, don't try to be the spokesperson for God on my program now, okay? For your own sake, because I won't listen, okay? Don't try to be the Attorney General of heaven as I'm about to talk. Please keep it to yourself. Don't try to tell me about the gate of hell, which your grandfather is the gate man or chief security there. Please keep it to yourself. Okay? And don't remind me that I can die. I know that already. Right? So every day of my life is a grace. And that's why I use it. Right? To see how many people I can tell. Don't be deceived, you. Now, let's talk. So we received the news. 40 pastors sacked because of they say they are not meeting targets. We don't understand what the target really means. Maybe they are not converting people to Lord, to the Lord. But who is there to judge that, by the way? She been a God supposed judge say, you boys know they bring member come, or they convert your anointing where I give you, they waste time. Oh. It's only God. God does a way. You see, when we were growing up, when I was growing up, I was a little bit religious, honestly. So I was raised a Muslim. At some point, I became a Christian, a Cherubim and Seraphim goer. And then I joined the Foursquare Church. I became a born again. They started calling me Brother Badero. And I started calling them Sister Esther, Sister Tokwe, Sister this, Sister that. So we started, like they said, I'm not mocking you. This is the life I lived, by the way. But the point I'm trying to make here is that when I was growing up, I was raised to believe that God called people. They will say, have you heard? Daddy Sheung has resigned though from the bank. What happened? They said the Lord just called them that they want to go and work for God. That was the childhood I had. Trust me, that's why I'm becoming an old school. I understand, I know that. But it was so real then that they will say, hey, Mr. Thomas graduated. Somebody will graduate from university. Best student. They will say, what is going on? He wants to be a pastor. God called him. Each level now. But again, those people, they will become pastor. We'll be seeing them. They will be praying for us. If they come in, they say, come and pray for us. If we're in any meeting, if we're in any gathering, they say, Pastor, pray for us. Pastor. So it was like there's this special anointing. So people can rate, but people don't want you to, kind of open somebody's eyes or pray for somebody to get well and all of that. Like, the miracle. I didn't really grow up into that. Sincerely, I didn't. Until I became a teenager. And we started seeing the Pentecostals, televangelism, where people, somebody will never see, they say, he has been blind. Pastor, yeah, talk to me. I say, yeah, Pastor, she has been blind from birth. I say, hallelujah. She's been blind from birth, oh. Never seen anything in her life, oh. But on TV, they will say, what is this? What is this? Handkerchief. And you will be running after the pastor. Say, what is this color? White. I say, how you take no white? But I grew up into that. And unfortunately, I'm not alone. No. Many people, around that point, I started losing interest in that kind of a thing. Then I became a brother. Then because that's what my fellow brothers in Christ, then that's what they said. They said, Maiyegun, they come church again. I said, Baba, see, I know to get time. So why would you say you get time for God? A shooting Baba, you better get you back job lower you. Got to face me, gone say, waiting out the face past this level of I don't pray, I don't do anything. I know I see vision. Now hunger. All this fasting and prayer, I'm not really good at it. I'm being sincere here. So I didn't grow up hearing somebody say they are employed as pastor and they are paying them. So you see those who are like Olushoaguntan. You know what is called Olushoaguntan? The shepherd. We are like the flock. We, all of us, me, my sister, some of my other brothers in Odogbolu, we are like the flock. But we get Olushoaguntan really. From this church, that church, there are those who say this boy gets some evil spirit. Go and bath for him. 7 days bath. I can't count how many times they bath me for me inside the stream. They would dip me inside water, everything. But that was how they raised us. They were like our shepherd. You know how they were surviving? Community will give them money. Community will give them food. And when we do Ikore, people will bring their farm food to the place. And when you have rich people who have, mothers, their mom, their dad, old people, because I grew up among old people, by the way. So their own mother, their father's grandma and all that, who attend all this church, this mosque, when those people come back home, and they say, my great-grandma, they should have made that yard, didn't it? So they gave her a title in a mosque back then, right? So it was easier that we grew up as a local like that.
My great-grandma was a Muslim. My grandfather was a Muslim. My mom, I can say she's a Christian. My dad, I can say he's a Christian, but it's like me. It's not really a serious anymore, right? But what am I trying to say? Until now, when people will begin to threaten you with Holy Spirit, threaten you with Holy Ghost, threaten you with this, and say, why are you threatening us? Because we disagree? Though back then I have fire and heaven that they take whip us on the line. But I've never seen where they say, Pastor, somebody say, what did they study? They say, I'm studying, what's that called again? They are studying theology. I'm a theologist. Wow. Okay. You're learning how to read the Bible, to remember the verses and all of that. That's good, but I thought God should call you. People will tell you that God called them when they were sleeping. Some people will just abandon family, abandon everybody, and go onto the mountain. They say, God called them. I've never seen anybody say they are employed to be pastors and all of that, until now anyway, which is really good. But for the commercial part of it, they have now led many people to astray. Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. If you can talk like me, maybe you can make some money for yourself. Imagine if I am somebody who decided to just be reading Bibles and all of that, or Quran. Trust me, I can be a very good religious pastor on social media. Trust me, I am somebody who can be very good if I put my heart into something. I will quote Bible, and some of you will say, Holy Spirit is talking through Maiyegun. But you see, that is not to say all of you who have that are wrong. No, I'm not saying that. You are not. But when you see those who have now fell into the survivor mode in the name of winning soul for God, at the end of the day, and like this is the story they end, not be me, not the guy.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Pastor Peter Godwin Honorary, pastor in Living Faith Church, Winners Chapel International, Abete, Ikere Ekiti.
Thank you. You told us you were sacked for no reason, and that you want to reach the leadership and the entire Christian body to know what has happened. What really happened, Pastor Godwin?
Actually, by the special grace of God, our Father in the Lord, the Apostle over this commission, Living Faith Church, received a mandate from the Lord to plant 10,000 churches in Nigeria, and by the special grace of God, I'm privileged to be one of the pastors that was employed on the 28th of August, year 2020. That was last year. So after that, I engaged in kingdom advancement endeavor. I've been going about doing my duty to the Lord Almighty, trying my possible best to make sure I win souls to Christ. And unfortunately, on the 1st of June, and here is my deployment letter. This is my deployment letter. You can see that, you can view it. This is my deployment letter, which carries my name and my station. So on the 1st of July I received a call from the state church that the state pastor wants to see me. So I thought I am the only one, so I was surprised. I went, and when I went, I saw some pastors, over 40 pastors seated. So I joined them. Few minutes later, we were issued a letter, and here is the letter. Here is the letter. So I tried to open the content of the letter to see what was there. I saw that it's a letter of release, and it says, consequent upon the recent performance review, which revealed that your church growth index fall below expectations, please be informed that your service as a pastor in charge are no longer required from this commission with immediate effect. You are to vacate the official accommodation and hand over all properties of the ministry in your custody, including the staff ID card, and to the area pastor before departure. So hand over all properties of the ministry in your custody, including the staff ID card, and to the area pastor before departure. So I called the management. I do not engage in any dubious act or any evil act. So, and what I was told from the management was that, you see, Pastor, it is well, this commission doesn't operate at a loss. So I was so surprised. So when I heard that, so, and they also told me the total income that is generated from my station should be able to cater for my welfare and my accommodation. So as a result of low income, I am hereby dismissed.
You also told us you are not giving exit package and that in your letter, they said, may you find grace for the new beginning. What does that mean, sir?
Yes, sir. When I received the exit form, I filled everything needed to be filled and everything was intact. I gave the letter to them. Nothing like exit package. Nothing was given to us. We just...
Sorry, Jare Pastor. Honestly, the kingdom of God suffereth violence, they say. You shall find grace. Now Buhari no mix. So. Let's be honest. So. Now Buhari no mix. But you see, let's leave God out of it now. Let's talk about business. The Living Faith Church, what they are doing is that as a company, they are downsizing. They cannot be subsidizing underperforming branches with staff's salary to be paid. So they are downsizing. Now Buhari no make it. See, Buhari and APC, they are the only people in this whole wide world who came with confidence and they lied to witches. They lied to man, lied to woman, lied to children, lied to pastors, lied to imam, lied to babalawo, mama lawo, sis lawo, brother lawo, all these lawos, right? They lied to witches, the wizard, and they are still here. Back on firm confidence. You cannot see it in any face of you can only see this kind of confidence in the hand of ardent criminals. Now Buhari be that too. All this APC. They duped everybody. Now everybody they go suffer around. Mosque, where they pay people, they will tell you to go and find something to do. Churches, all of you. I'm a pastor, Maiyegun. I mean, because of small church they put you in, Abi, you don't know that when government policy hammers, it hammers everybody, including those of you that are lying to you that don't worry, we are living by the grace of God. You are lying to yourself, lying to yourselves. Good enough if you are living by the grace of God, though, because that's something that somebody can say, how you they take manage for this Buhari-nomic, this Buhari economy? Say, Baba, na grace of God, though. Which kind of grace of God? Can't you just tell us? Where not to see this money? Say, Baba, na grace of God, say, not a shatter. We shall they eat. Now management, managing everybody. Until when people can't manage anymore, they will now scream out, hey, help me, oh. You see? God, where they give job, God, where they call people. If God call me now, because I can say that, see, listen, I'm not being blasphemous or whatever, okay? You can say, Maiyegun, now God call you for this job, and you will be right. You know why? This is where people don't have to be compelled to be whatever they listen to. But when you begin to listen to Maiyegun's diary Politico, you will begin to picture your life in some of the scenarios that Maiyegun will be painting. And by the time you start finding yourself in that position, it will be easier for you to then possibly figure out what Maiyegun said when you find yourself in that position, if you do this and if you don't do that. So when people begin to leave what Maiyegun says, you can say, Maiyegun, now God called you. Even if you don't believe in God before, welcome to Temple of Truth. Because here, we know they believe, say God, now God they construct hospital. On Maiyegun's, at the Temple of Truth, we don't believe that it is God that will bring electricity. We don't believe that it is God that will build education. We don't believe that it is God that will stop corruption. We don't believe that it is God that will fight terrorism. We don't believe that it is God, right, that will arrest Buhari. We believe that law and order can only come to life when people who are responsible to uphold them they have integrity enough to hold them. So Maiyegun's diary Politico, right here, right? We don't tell you to go and pray and hope say something will change tomorrow. We'll tell you, say, Baba, nothing will change you. Until all of us agree, say, there is no God anywhere that is going to come down and do anything for you.
except if you are ready. And if you ask me, Maiyegun, what is your position on this? I will tell you that only you, only us, can decide what will be our next fate. And in this regard, the language they are speaking in northern Nigeria to the northerners seems to be the language the northerners understand, language of terrorism. They are forcing that on us too. You shouldn't wait till you are a victim before you begin to cry out. Are you with me? So for those who have already become victims of the Buhari nomic, Eku Roju, sorry, may God no allow them, may them kill you.
Why we will meet each other. That is the only basis for our existence as a people.
So
then Nigeria president now photo, everybody go snap photo with that. Say our president is snap photo with the Bishop of Archbishop of Canterbury. Hey, snap photo with the Rogers. Hey, snap photo with this one. Now president now photo on our vote. Your president is now a picture. Photo. Not be juju be that. Not be when our fathers die for a dollar and we they care for them, keep them for house, they pour libation. You lose a prayer and say, Buhari boy, you lose Buhari prayer. Oro lose that. Do no ruler. Chitombo are bofu.
I think that is an Ijaw language there, wherever that means. I like it. I laugh a lot when I listen to Asari Dokubo. You know. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time tonight. Okay, I've given you a few updates that really matters from the beginning of this broadcast up to the up to an hour of it. So I was going to take a call, but I'm not going to take a call tonight. I will take it tomorrow. I finish work early tomorrow, which means that we should be, able to phone in tomorrow. Remember this: the southern Nigeria, those who are still being politically correct, right? They should know one thing: these guys have no other means of delivering their subjugation and overrunning our land, delivering this blow of destruction on us. It is not us versus them. It is us having to push back genuinely without having to appeal to them. What we are doing right now is what the political class are doing right now is they are trying to play safe. These guys know you in and out. They know what they want, and they are not really backing down from that. So if the southern Nigeria wants to make an impression, genuine one, let the politicians also come out and make their resolution. Every resolution they've made before now, they should make a final one. We are leaving. If you are afraid to say it now, don't worry. What will make you say it will make you say it, just like everyday action that is going on. But we will not wait for them to turn our land to Zamfara, to Taraba, to Yobe, to Niger, to Katsina, where Buhari comes from, Daura, or to Kaduna or Zamfara, where they are killing people daily, and it seems to be like a normal thing. We know the plan is to unleash them in Yoruba land, unleash the same in the Biafra land. But we have one thing that is working for us, and that is we have done so well to keep the tie, the unity that is being built upon from the people of the southern Nigeria so far. By the time we cross the threshold and cross the border to the south, to the middle belt, right, and form enough bond that can really push back, those who don't agree with us now, they will come back that time to meet us united, waiting for them for a bigger force. We're not going to be in a rush, all right? Buhari will make it easier for those who don't believe yet that Nigeria is not for you. How many times would they tell you that Nigeria is not for you? However, I will see you again. To my friends on YouTube, somebody said something earlier that we had about 2,400 of us on YouTube. Only 500 of us could give that thumb up. Remember, I always ask for it at the end of the program, right? This is the end of the broadcast now, and you can just take a minute or a second break from the chat room. Go on to that channel now. If you haven't subscribed on Maiyegun's Diary Politico before now, please do it, okay? We are following up on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. July 26th is when the court is expected to meet. July 26th is just about 7 days away, okay? We will continue to mount the pressure locally and internationally. And tomorrow, I will be bringing Julie back on I believe Julie is watching, possibly. So I'll be bringing Julie back on tomorrow to talk more on the latest, where the Nigerian DSS are doing everything to prevent the UK, the British government, to make a legal representation to support Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And that is something that must change in the next few days. I hope Julie will join me tomorrow. I'll see you again. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a good evening. Oduduwa Anthem.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Kíkó nìna kówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Òkúra olóṣèlú. Maiyegun máa bí. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú Ẹ̀súnràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá